All right, so we are back on the W.A.D.E Concept presented by the Ring Magazine. And folks, I just watched Manny Pacquiao, that's right, 8-division world champion and 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao off a 3-year layoff. Manny Pacquiao off a loss before the 3-year layoff. Manny Pacquiao go to a majority draw with a world champion in a title fight in 2025. What the just happened? The breakdown, let's go.
He is the star of W.A.D.E Concept.
So like I said, Manny Pacquiao, 2025, fighting for a world championship is not something you expect me to hear. Number one, especially off the 3-year layoff, especially at 147, especially off a loss, and especially not going to a majority draw. This is a win for Manny Pacquiao. I'm just going to say it. Tonight, he fought Mario Barrios on PBC, on Amazon Prime Video for the WBC World Championship. Mario Barrios, I like the guy, but it has to be said, when you have two of your last title defenses ending in a split draw and a majority draw, you may be the worst title holder in boxing right now. I'm sorry. That's not comparing him to being a shitty boxer. It's just saying that as of right now, he might be the worst world champion in boxing. It may be one of the worst I've seen in a while. Also, kind of unrelated, this kind of looks bad for Tank Davis's record because that was supposed to be a stalwart win on Tank's career when he moved up to 140 and beat Barrios for the belt there. But now it's not looking so good because 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao just went to a majority draw, and you can argue that Manny Pacquiao should have won the fight and was winning up until the later rounds. Let's talk about it. So, like I said, Manny Pacquiao off the 3-year layoff, 46, didn't look great against Ugas in his last one. You had to think, okay, well, Barrios beat Ugas kind of decisively. This is going to go one way and one way only. Barrios potentially by stoppage or decision. That's not what happened. Barrios was so tentative in this fight. He was essentially standing there for some of the exchanges. Manny Pacquiao came out and did what Manny Pacquiao does. By the way, credit to Manny. At 46, he still had some feet. He was moving, dancing on Mario Barrios. He was throwing combination punches going forward on Mario Barrios. And when he wasn't doing that, he was countering Mario Barrios, who looked like a stick in the mud. He looked like he couldn't even get out of first gear because Manny was hitting with combinations. Were they hurting super bad? Maybe not. Some of them definitely were. Had a mouse under the eye of Mario Barrios, but others were just flurries, and they were keeping Barrios at bay. And when Barrios was throwing one, Pacquiao was throwing three. When Barrios would throw out his jab, Manny would counter with his lead right hand, stepping on the inside plane, doing all the old Manny shit. It was pretty cool to see. And honestly, even with the majority draw, it's a win for Manny because, damn, if he can do that off a 3-year layoff at 46, that's pretty telling for one, where the sport of boxing is when your world champ can't beat 46-year-old politician Manny Pacquiao. But two, just how great he was. 8-division world champion, started his career at 106, I think, comes up to 147. What are we talking about? But yeah, in this fight, it was crazy to see. Manny still had some feet. He still had some pop in his hands. He still had the combinations. He still had the variety. There were points in this fight, especially early on, where Barrios just looked so tentative, and it almost looked like he was overthinking what was pretty simple. If he just threw his hands, if he just put together some combinations and was the bully in there to a much smaller, much more fragile Manny Pacquiao, then he maybe even could have stopped Manny, but for sure could have put him on the back foot, for sure could have stopped a lot of the combinations, and for sure would not have gone to a majority draw. In the corner, between rounds, you're hearing Bob Santos, his head coach, telling Mario Barrios, stop giving him so much fucking respect. Do not respect him. Go out there and execute. And it was just like a block in Barrios' mind. Granted, some of that is because Pacquiao was feigning and giving him some different looks and level changing and getting to his body and following up with the left hand upstairs, but that was also because of Barrios' hesitation. Every time Manny went forward, Barrios would stand there flat-footed, high guard, and just take punishment. It was bizarre to watch because you're holding the WBC belt. This shouldn't have even been sanctioned, to be honest, in the first place, but it's an indictment at the highest level of welterweight when Jaron Boots Ennis is not involved, honestly, because that right there is rough to watch if you're a Barrios fan. If you're a Manny Pacquiao fan, this is a fantastic night. And you could even argue maybe he should have got the belt. But I think where this fight became more close was in the later rounds when Pacquiao, obviously close to being an AARP member, was going to slow down. And if your game plan, if you're Mario Barrios, is to go, okay, I'm just going to outlast him. Eventually, he's going to slow down. One, it's psychotic to me to even think, I'll wait for the 46-year-old to slow down in the later rounds. Not, I'm going to go and do what I should do as a champion and go after this guy. Respect be damned. It's a world championship fight. I saw some people saying, oh, he's carrying Manny out of respect. Excuse me? That's a sitting world champion. Your respect for Manny means you give him the same treatment you give anybody else coming for the belt. And again, Mario is coming off a split draw in his last fight, so it kind of makes sense. This is the performance he'd have. But yeah, this was just not a great night for Mario Barrios. Like, the worst way you want to retain your belt by doing the least amount possible offensively. I saw them say he was throwing like 400 punches. I don't know where the stats from PBC came from, but I did not see him throwing 400, 500 punches unless they were like tippy-tap little touch punches, but nothing to get Manny to stop a forward onslaught in the middle rounds. It was like rounds 1 and 2, Manny. 3, Barrios. Maybe 4 and 5, Manny took his foot off the gas a little bit, but still probably won one of those. Then Manny comes back in round 6 and has new life. 7 and 8 look like they're also going Manny's way, so Barrios needs to start really ramping things up in 9 through 12. And while he didn't ramp things up, Manny eventually tired, and Barrios was able to just take care of dead space because, well, Manny wasn't throwing and Barrios wasn't throwing, so he might as well throw his combinations then. But it took until the 10th round to really see Mario Barrios come out of first gear and really see him try to go after and throw some combination punches at Manny Pacquiao. Again, credit to Manny. He was able to stick in there when some of those shots looked like they could have put him out. He got hit with some hooks and some right hands that kind of made him do a little bit of the jumping rabbit dance, but eventually he found his way through it. And he found his way to a decision here. And even in the last few moments of the fight, Manny still had those veteran tendencies. At the last points of all the rounds, really, he would find ways to either steal rounds or look good on the judges' scorecard. And yeah, some of that was going to be swayed by the crowd, right? Of course, Manny was going to have a ton of supporters, so anything he threw, if it even looked like it landed, they were going to go crazy. And I kind of half expected for Manny to get that reception to a fault. But ironically, he was actually landing. He was actually throwing punches that were landing flush on Mario Barrios that were getting those reactions. And it was beautiful to watch him go back to the corner and Freddie Roach give him instruction and him come out like a freaking bat out of hell and go after Barrios. It was awesome to watch on that front. But then you have to cope with the realization that he just did that to a sitting world champion. And I don't really know which one to feel better or worse about. Do I feel great that Manny still is great at 46 years old? He may not be as great as he was, but he's still showing these young bucks how it's done. Or am I a little bit embarrassed that the sport has regressed to a sitting world champion being that bad that he has a majority draw with a 46-year-old man off a 3-year layoff? I don't know. But I will say it was fun to watch Manny. As much as I was against the fight happening and going, man, he's 46. This is dangerous. And against literally anybody else holding that belt, it probably would have been far more dangerous. But Barrios couldn't get out of first gear, and Manny showed up in shape, ready to fight. As in shape as he could be at 46. His calves looked like most people's quad muscles, for God's sakes. He was bouncing around. It was incredible. So that part of it I was super pumped about, and it did give you a feeling of like, for people like myself that maybe didn't appreciate Manny being a smaller guy, even though he was an 8 division world champion, maybe didn't get to see some of his best moments until later on after the fight. To see him live do that at his age, you get a bit of an appreciation for how great he was just by seeing how good he is right now. And I think that's something special. And the kids that are younger than me that are watching this sport and never got to see a Manny Pacquiao fight, getting to see him and understand why their parents, whether they're, Filipino or just fans of boxing in general, we're so pro Manny. We're such big Manny fans. That's a cool moment. But yeah, I don't really know how that happened. Again, other than just Mario Barrios just really bottling it tonight and Manny showing up way better than Barrios either thought or was prepared for. And that, again, I think is more of an indictment on a world champion than it is Manny Pacquiao. Congrats to Manny for going to 12, for getting a majority draw out of it. The way I scored it, yeah, I could have seen a draw coming because I thought Barrios did come to life finally in round 10, 11, 12. He finally decided to put some offense together. But, you know, it could have been a draw. It could have been 7-5 Manny. Could have been 7-5 Barrios. I don't really care. The fact that it was that close is embarrassing for Barrios, honestly. And again, it's a tribute to how good Manny is. But as far as where everybody goes from here, I don't know. I have no idea. I hope Manny if he's going to fight again, have it be Floyd Mayweather. And if that's the case, listen, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and act like I'm not going to watch that fight, because I absolutely will. If Floyd still thinks he's got some stuff left in the tank, and clearly Manny still does, and Floyd's been doing the exhibitions, he's technically kind of been more active than Manny has over the last 3 years, then I say run it. You know what I'm saying? Someone's going to have a bag out there to throw at both of them. And it's better than sticking... Well, listen, maybe Floyd comes back and fights Barrios because he saw how good Manny did against him. I don't know. But it's better than trying to stick either of them in with real dangerous world-level competition that isn't Barrios, because I think that was a one-off. I don't think you stick Manny in there with the fucking heavy hitters at 47. I mean, for God's sakes, can we imagine Manny Pacquiao gets stuck in there with Jerron Boots Ennis before he moved to 54? Can we imagine, right? Brian Norman Jr., for God's sakes. Devin Haney, you know? So it's like, no, let's not do that. Let's have Manny and Floyd if they're going to do it. I don't even care if it's an exhibition or a pro. Who cares? Floyd's not going to want to do a pro fight because of the undefeated record, but I'll watch it. Watching Manny look as good as he looked, I'm sold. If you want to do Floyd and Manny, I'm on board. I'm watching that shit. Now, Mario Barrios, I do not care. There's got to be something he needs to do better. As a world champion, holding the WBC belt, your last 2 fights and your 2 title defenses have been split draw and majority draw against 2 people that you should not be going to draws with. Abel Ramos is 28-6, fighting for a world title after going 2-3 to get to the belt. Manny is 3 years off, coming off a loss, 46 years old, at a weight class he shouldn't even be at, and he takes you to a draw. There needs to be some big changes for Mario Barrios, is the point. So I'm not really sure what to do with him next, but that was special to watch. A moment in time that I will not forget, mainly because of Manny, but partly because of just, wow, Mario Barrios, Jesus. But anyway, like I said, I think that Manny and Floyd, at this point, I'm sold. Go ahead, do it. Do it this year. I'm not sure where, I'm not sure how, but somebody is going to do it. The rematch, even if it is an exhibition, I'll watch it. But as far as what happens next for Barrios, I don't know. All I'll say is, only in 2025, in this simulation, in this multiverse that we live in, can Manny Pacquiao walk back into the sport of boxing at 46, off the layoff, off the loss, and almost become world title. Be 1, maybe 2 rounds away from becoming world champion. That is crazy. But it almost happened tonight. Majority draw. Manny Pacquiao returns to the sport. Will he stay or will he go? I don't have those answers, so guess we'll find out.